Hi, I'm Ellie Crystal from crystallinks.com. We are at the end of 2016, and that always takes me back to a topic I want to talk about today. Whatever became of the prophecies? If you've been around the internet as long as I have, which is practically from the beginning, you know that every year people would talk about prophecies and they'd wait for them to happen, especially around the year 2000 and around 2012. And there was the popular Edgar Cayce theories about what's going to happen in 98 and Nostradamus in 99. And there was always a prophecy about something. I started Crystal Links in 1995, and my list, as you can see here, of prophecies always started with Nostradamus. I've even done some TV work about his prophecies, but the list here, this list just got longer and longer and longer. And then some of these folders actually have subfolders. Like if you go into Native American, I have all of these subfolders as well. So it just went on and on and on. Now, prophecies go all the way back. Everything that we experience now, from our earth changes to everything that we know, goes back to the beginning of time. Even our political systems and our social systems, they were different then because we were in a different grid, but they all had the same basis in fact. Now with prophecies, back in the 1990s, we'd come to the end of the year, and people would look at some of these prophecies. Nostradamus said this and that, particularly on 9/11. That was, 16 years ago, 15 years ago, right, Anna? I'm doing this with my friend Anna. And they would look at these prophecies and they would say, this one happened, that one happened, this one couldn't possibly have happened. And then they would come up with what was called predictions. And I had my share of what they called hits and misses, and some of the better known psychics on the internet would say, this is going to happen here and here and here and here. But the truth of the matter is, with prophecies and predictions, prophecies of days gone by were extremely cryptic. That means Nostradamus, you can interpret it 20 different ways. The man lived a long time ago, okay? He wrote it with a feather quill pen, and he had his quatrains, and I could click on him, Anna. Let's see. Oh, I have actually all the quatrains. Here we go. This is Nostradamus. This is the famous letter to his son. These are the centuries and the quatrains. And this is part of a TV show that I did called The Lost Book of Nostradamus, and that was 9 years ago. It aired in October 2007. So for as far back as we can remember, we've always looked to these prophets, whether we considered them humans or gods or a mix of both, or aliens or whatever, and we looked to them. We looked out there for someone to give us a clue. A clue about what? Were they looking to see what was going to happen the next year, or were they looking at the big picture? Today we look at both. Today, back in the day, as I said, people started developing all these predictions for the upcoming year. I did it for a few years. Some were accurate, some were not. But when you look at it in the bigger picture, the big events that happen every year were never predicted by anybody, or maybe they were by somebody who just never put it on the internet or never shared it with others. Maybe they had it in a journal somewhere, or told a friend, I see this blowing up, or I see that war happening, or this economy crashing. I mean, basically, predictions follow the patterns of a reality, which means they can be predictable, the highs, the lows, however you want to look at it. The predictions before the year started became less and less as time went by. It wasn't just, okay, the same people predicting. Some of the people I knew, like Sylvia Browne, if they had misses, and I was friends with her, I knew her, people would make fun of them. Oh, look, she's got this wrong and she's got that wrong. And people tend to be very mean on social media, and they tend to judge, and they don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. And not that I can say I agree with her, because when we did used to talk about things like earth changes, I told her they were accelerating, and apparently, based on everything even happening today, they are. She thought the economy was going to recover and go back to some glorious stage. It's not. And you all follow the economy, and you all know things are not the way they were. They're not supposed to be that way. So now we come to the end of this year, and I feel that 2016 was one of the craziest, wackiest years. Wouldn't you agree, Anna?
Yes.
I mean, it was all about the election, of course, and all about Trump and Hillary, and then Hillary represented the old regime and the establishment, and things that would either stay the same or not go in our favor. And Trump was just some wild, wacky, crazy guy who for some reason got chosen to be the one who was, I call it, bring it. Trump got elected, and people can't figure it out. There's always these articles. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why did he say if he stood in the middle of Times Square and he shot somebody, he'd still be elected president? There's an energy that went with that, and I rode with that energy practically from the beginning. I was a little bit put off towards the very end with Trump, because people were saying, oh, Hillary's got it, she's got it made, she's got it made. But there are forces that create everything. Some are predictable, some are not, and that takes us back to prophecies. The one big thing that I have found with every prophecy that I put on Crystal Links, all the prophecies always had this much in common. They all said that an end time is coming. Now, they basically said if we don't want to either blow ourselves up or whatever the prediction was, then what we need to do is change our ways, become better people, heal our issues, work on ourselves, find love and light and peace and all this other stuff. And if we could do that, then everything was going to work out. If not, that's the end of that, you know. Now, remember that we live in an electromagnetic bipolar reality, which means we're not here to live in love and light. I mean, we all have our share of good times and bad times, and found people we love and have connections. I mean, most of us have. But at the end of the day, if you're in physical reality, you're here to experience the full gamut of emotions. And you can't find this utopia. You can't predict it. You can't prophesize it. You can't say it's going to happen. This was just stuff in the grids, in the consciousness grids, that like, do this and this and this and it'll all change. All of those prophecies were silly and ridiculous. And they basically encompass most of the prophecies and most of the predictions that people made from before the internet. People were predicting all kinds of stuff going back. They'd sit with their little crystal balls. I wish I had a crystal ball to play with today, but unfortunately I gave mine away. I don't use tools much anymore. But if they look in their crystal ball or gaze into water and look and see from a consciousness perspective what they saw in there, and they predicted, it was the same thing. They predicted war. They predicted the revolutions. They predicted more chaos and anarchy than love and light stuff. We're into the phase at the end of the hologram where everything is going to be about love and light and this and that. What we're really doing with our prophecies is bringing everything together. Now, for me in recent years, I haven't prophesied anything. I haven't predicted anything other than for my clients, but that's their personal experience. And what I really see, and I feel, going back to Donald Trump on this day when the Electoral College is voting, it's December 19th, 2016, but what I really feel and predict is Donald Trump was elected through all the chaos because he is the person whose programming or destiny it is to bring the information to humanity about the truth about what's behind the curtain, shall we say. All right, I just saw Wicked the other day. But what's the truth? Once he finds that out, and it won't take that long, once he finds out the truth, let's say about things like the alien and human agendas, okay? The other presidents probably knew. I'm not going to say for sure. A lot of people think they knew and they wanted to speak up and they were not allowed to. Even Obama, same thing, not permitted to say anything. But why is that important? Not because aliens are coming back. I'm not predicting aliens are coming back this year or at the end of the hologram, or they're going to either rescue us and take us away like gods are supposed to rescue us. It has nothing to do with it. It's this interaction between other than humans to help raise our human consciousness to a level where this technology and consciousness, and however you raise your consciousness, whatever you do, whatever makes you more comfortable, but to raise it to the point where you just say, hey, wait a minute, there is something bigger going on here. You can be a prophet from Nostradamus' time, you can be a psychic from our timeline, but at the end of the day, what you're saying is there was a beginning and we are coming to an end, no matter how you look at it. The main cue for you in making your own predictions, not self-fulfilling prophecies, your own predictions, is to look at what's going on with the earth changes now. Okay? If you look at the earthquakes since November 14th, you will see that these earthquakes are increasing exponentially, particularly in the Pacific Ring of Fire. That's another story. You can definitely go ahead, be a great psychic today and say, I predict that these earthquakes that have just moved from 6s and 7s are going to move to 8s. When they hit the 9s, forget it. The plates are destroyed, the tsunamis happen, the earthquakes happen. So, okay, you can be the prophet for today and you can say that's going to happen. Then you can look at the economy and you can say, well, things may have gotten a little better, or is that all fake and false and whatever. We have all become conspiracy theorists. We all think there's something underlining our economic systems and our political systems and all of our systems, even our religious systems, okay? They're all conspiracies, they're all corrupt. I'm not disputing that, because built into our holographic illusion of a reality is the conspiracy theory. Every single thing is a conspiracy. Even your daily life, there's always seems to be little dramas. It's like you just decide you want to do something and all of a sudden this little drama happens. And it's like for some people they're lucky, it's a small little drama, you just work your way around it. Now, for other people it's a big drama, okay? So we go with that. If you want to predict for yourself or for the world about the dramas, okay, let's look at the wars. What say you, Anna? Is the wars going to end this year?
I really have no idea.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really see resolutions to the major crises going on, unfortunately, in the Middle East and Africa and really everywhere. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you, yes, I see a ceasefire and I see peace for those the terrible plight of the Syrian people. And it's not just the Syrian people, it's people all over the world. And I wish I could tell you all of this is going to stop. That not only isn't the nature of reality if we're predicting, but it's also not part of a bipolar reality. There has to be a drama. There has to be a war. Trump is doing his own little battles right now, things about Russia. And just today, who was killed? The Turkish ambassador to Russia? The Russian ambassador to Turkey, right, was just shot. I just put that on my blog about an hour or so ago. There's going to be dramas, there's going to be wars. You want to be the psychic who steps up and says when and where and how and what's going to go for it. If you see big explosions, you might close your eyes and say, oh my God, I see an explosion in this part of the world and that part of the world while you're doing your predictions, okay, then that's fine. Then write it down, put it online, go to eBlogger, put up your predictions. People like to do that. They think it's interesting. They think it brings perspective to things, but it does not change. That's important. All the predictions and all the prophecies do not change what's destined to happen. Just because I might see, and I don't like to see terrible things, but let's say I see a volcano blowing somewhere. My favorite is Mount Popo in Mexico. I hope the Mexicans do not dislike me for this, but for some reason, okay, this volcano is just going to go kaboom. And what comes out actually is UFOs, which I find very interesting. But let's say I predict that Mount Popo is going to blow within the first 6 months of the year. Okay, maybe not the biggest blow, but definitely a big one. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Maybe this kaboom that I see is a different volcano. Maybe it's in the Hawaiian Islands. The Hawaiian Islands are having earthquakes now. So explosions are very big in predictions, but to get the day or even the week and the place and the relative time, day or night, these are very, very hard to do. The easiest way to do it is read the timelines, because the timelines, I don't care what people say, there's a million branches off the timelines and parallel realities and all this other stuff, and that anything can go any way. Not anymore. We're in end times. So if you see something on the timelines, just look at it with your mind. You don't have to close your eyes. People are used to going like this. Oh, look what I see, you know. I see something going on the sun, or I see UFOs coming to get us. Whatever you see, whatever you feel, you can make a note. You can do whatever you want to do with it. My predictions for next year is an acceleration for everything that doesn't work now. I'd love more than anything to see people live in a happy space, to have everybody have a nice home and just a good life with love and light, if you whatever you want to, whatever your definition of that is. But that's not how we're built, and we are in end times, and the chaos is increasing. And at the end of the day, it's not that I see Russia and Turkey blowing the planet or aliens coming. I don't see the planet blown at all, other than the earthquakes, and earth changes. But when that happens, when we get into major earthquakes, major tsunamis, and everything starts to implode, okay, everything's going to collapse. The stock market's going to collapse. Everything's going to collapse. I wish this could be a happy ending. I'd like it to just fade to black. Just when Anna and I are just sitting here talking, and then all of a sudden we go, whoa, and it's over. But unfortunately, I just see next year, to sum up, I just see next year being more chaotic. To pinpoint the exact place where the chaos is going to shake the world, I don't know. I just know it has to do with the tectonic plates more than anything political, religious, or in any other way, that's going to bring end times in. Common thing is people think, and ask me all the time, do you feel the planet's going to blow and we are going to take my Ellie body and Anna's going to take her Anna body, and we are going anyway, so the heck with this experiment. It didn't exactly work to the best of our liking. So are we going to just go off into fourth and fifth and who knows how many dimensions or parallel worlds, or in love and light and all this stuff, and that's where we're going to find it? No, because those people think that we have physical bodies that are going to travel into non-physical realms, and you can't do that. And the reason I'm saying it is because a man wrote to me today, and he said to me, well, it doesn't matter, this experiment is a failure, so let's just take our bodies and let's just go somewhere else and have another experience. This is just a universal hologram. It is an experience. To say you have been chosen to be here, or we're in prison here, I've heard it explained 50 different ways. But to say that we're just here, and basically the only thing that makes this exciting and different is we're here for what you would call the grand finale. But we are not. Ellie is not going to take her Ellie self and her ego identity and go off and live wherever. It doesn't really work that way. To be in consciousness, that's what you are. You are consciousness, which means light. You are not flesh and blood and shirts and other things like that. It's coming. brace yourself, make your own predictions. If you want to read up on predictions based on astrology, numerology, psychic tools of any kind, go for that. I say the more you read up on these things, the better. Just know that most psychics today are not predicting that these things are going to happen. They're not even making predictions. They're just going with the flow. And we get back to the prophecies of old. Let me just go back and say, I put this on my blog recently. If Nostradamus, it was his birthday, I wrote, if Nostradamus was alive today, what would he be saying? Would he be doing a daily blog? Would he be saying, what happened? Would he be texting me? It's like, take it with a sense of humor if you're capable of it, if your life is not that damaged, and understand whatever you're feeling now, experiencing now, and you predict for yourself and the world next year, it has potential. The more you can read timelines and predictable patterns, the easier it'll be. So on that note, I wish you a happy holiday and a very happy new year. Thank you.